Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you haven't been with us before, I'm your host, Kendall Fisher. And today I'll be chatting with Chembio Diagnostics Supervisor of Planning and Operational Systems, Daverick Wagstaff, about the ways the company is leveraging Learning Cloud Support, or LCS, Company Pass, as well as the all-new MyLearn functionality. Now, for those of you who don't yet know about MyLearn, it's the all new personalized training center we launched last month to help you expand your knowledge and use of NetSuite. We'll explore how Chembio is utilizing the new functionality and how this, alongside their overall use of LCS, has helped the business take NetSuite to new levels. Of course, we will cover as much as we possibly can during our chat, but we'll also open it up to the audience, to all of you, for a live Q&A at the end of our conversation. So be sure to use the comments to ask Daverick any questions you may have. No matter what platform you're tuning in from, use those comments and we will make sure to get to as many of them as we possibly can towards the end of our event today. And if you don't have any questions, that's okay too. Just give us a shout out in the comments. We know you're tuning in from all over the place, so tell us where you're joining from and we'll make sure to call out to you during the event. Or if you have leveraged LCS or started using MyLearn, tell us about it. We want to share your stories throughout today's conversation as well. Now, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Chembio Diagnostics Supervisor of Planning and Operational Systems, Daverick Wagstaff. Hey, Daverick, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, so I gave a brief introduction to Chembio just a moment ago, but can you tell us a bit more about the business and what you guys do?
Yes, of course. So here at Chembio, we develop, manufacture, and distribute rapid response test kits. Our mission is to develop and commercialize rapid, easy to use, and reliable point of care tests to improve diagnosis and monitoring of diseases. At Chembio, I'm the supervisor of planning and ERP operational systems. So on the planning end, what I do is I review the demand with our customer service team, analyze raw material levels, and suggest when and how much to order, and construct a manufacturing schedule in order to meet customer demand. And then on the ERP end, I manage all of our NetSuite environment, which includes, troubleshooting, implementing new modules, coordinating new user training, consulting on new customization requests, and then managing integrations that go in and out of our NetSuite environment.
Got it. So you're our go-to guy over at Chembio. Love
Mm-hmm.
it. So what would you say is uniquely challenging about running a business like Chembio? And since you work so closely with NetSuite, how does NetSuite really help in overcoming those challenges?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges about being in the medical device industry is it's an extremely regulated industry. So some processes have like hold times before we can take that and move it to the next level. So with NetSuite, we were able to incorporate those hold times into the item records, in which case that allows me to run reports that automatically notifies when that item is ready to go on to the next level. Along with the regulation, we have raw materials. They can't be used until they're reviewed by our quality team. So our NetSuite is set up to automatically quarantine these items as they get received into our system, and it actually restricts them from being consumed until those are marked as a released status. And this customization has allowed us to get our NetSuite validated from a quality management system point of view. Another challenge is it's very manufacturing intensive. So we have very complex bills of materials. About 20 to 30 different processes have to happen before we can get to that finished good step. So NetSuite makes it very easy for us to have a visibility onto where that product is in its life cycle. And this has made it extremely easier for us to do scheduling and planning, because before we used to be doing it manually. So NetSuite has really helped to automate that aspect.
Okay, so I'm hearing a lot here. So you've been able to customize NetSuite really to meet your unique needs. You use NetSuite for manufacturing, you use NetSuite for quality management, you use NetSuite for compliance. You actually take us back a step and let's hear, how do you use NetSuite overall? Like, how has your use of NetSuite evolved over time from when you started with NetSuite to where you are today?
So our use of NetSuite has evolved more in terms of system inefficiency and utilization of it. So as myself and my company in general have, learned to grown and learned how NetSuite operates, we've been able to use it a lot more efficiently, and we're able to expand on what we started in terms of implementation. So with that, I'm constantly looking into modules that we have not yet implemented, and to see if we can bring any new ones on to add value to our business processes. With that, I'm currently looking into implementing the whip and routing module. Right now, we use work orders and assemblies, and that's been perfect for us since we went live. But whip and routing is really going to help us take that to the next level and give us, more accurate financial reporting, and it's really going to help with the production scheduling.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we are here to talk about learning cloud support, or LCS. And I'm hearing you talking about like what you guys have started with, what you're hoping to go with. I mean, how has education played a role in all of this? How do you know what NetSuite has to offer that can help you take your use of NetSuite to the next level?
Yeah, so education has been extremely critical in my NetSuite journey and its success. I would say, 75% of my NetSuite skills have come from surfing the web, trying to understand the ins and outs of different modules and features. And, from surfing the web, most of that knowledge has come from, LCS and MyLearn, so it's come straight from NetSuite, the source.
Okay. So why did you initially start? Let's again take it back a little bit. Why did you initially start using LCS? Was that because you were Googling things and realized I need to get actual training, or walk us through that?
So originally, I started using LCS because as I started getting more comfortable with the system, our CFO at the time had informed me that we had actually, when we did our contract with NetSuite, he had actually signed us up for the LCS company pass, and he knew that I was really eager to learn as much about NetSuite as I could. I was a big fan of it since day one. I love how the system operates. I love the customization aspect of it. So in the middle of 2021, he notified me that we had access to it, and ever since then, I've been utilizing it.
Okay, so yeah, how have you continued using it to drive more learning, not only for yourself though, like it's important for everybody who's touching NetSuite to really
Mhm.
understand it, right? So how has LCS played a role in that?
Yeah, of course. So, in terms of helping other people out, I encourage any new employees who are onboarded that will be utilizing NetSuite every day to sign into LCS and review trainings that are related specific to their job functions. So for me personally, that's helped me to streamline the training process in general. So from that, I'm able to free up my own time so I can focus on other business matters, or I can even spend time on LCS myself and helping improve my NetSuite skills. It's really helped me to grow my Sage Search and report making skills to the level they are today, and I'm still continuing to grow and build off of that. And then in addition to that, it's also helped me to master the KPIs. So that's really helped me to give quick snapshots of key metrics to the people that need them the most.
Wow. Thank you. Those are some really cool examples to hear about how you've learned LCS, or have you used LCS to continue to learn about NetSuite. And I know MyLearn is, like we talked about, it's a new feature that certainly
Mhm.
helps with all of this. But before we dive into your use of MyLearn, can you, in your own words, describe MyLearn to
Mhm.
our audience?
Yeah, so I would say that MyLearn is more like, in my point of view, it's like a personalized version of LCS. It's very user friendly. Right from the beginning, you can set up your preferences so that you are suggested sessions and articles that are related to them. I really like that part of it because before, when I would have some free time, I would just browse LCS to find new things that could be applicable to us. I'd be looking for, live webinars. I'd be looking for courses and stuff that I could, help, better improve my NetSuite functionality. But now it's more, fed to me. So I'm spending less time browsing and trying to see what can I learn. And I get suggestions and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a cool suggestion. So it's super easy to find what you're looking for. And I also like that any courses that you might have started but not yet finished are all grouped together for you. And it gives you, percentage complete, and gives you an estimated timeline on how much longer it might take you to finish that course.
Got it. So it's making your training and learning about NetSuite just that much more efficient.
Yes.
And then how have you been using MyLearn to encourage encourage that continuous education with other users within your company?
So as I mentioned before, I'm constantly trying to grow my NetSuite and those skill sets. So I've historically used LCS to do this, but since MyLearn was launched, I've been taking advantage of that. Sometimes I'll go onto MyLearn with specific things that I'm looking for answers on. Other times I'm just exploring what's out there and what can be learned. So when I am doing things like that, when I'm perusing through MyLearn, I am looking for things that are applicable to, our organization. And when I find things like that, maybe it's not directly applicable to me in my department, but in general, I do like to know the information, and then I share that with other employees that are utilizing LCS. So that way, they can have the power at their fingertips, because once you empower the end users, it helps the system run a lot more smoothly and efficiently.
Yeah, that's great. What are some of the learnings that you've experienced through either MyLearn or LCS that you've shared with us? Like you said, been some cool suggestions that have come through. What are some of those, just so people can kind of get an idea of the trainings that you've done in particular, Daverick?
Yeah, so like I said, I've done a lot with the reporting and safe searches, features that are available from MyLearn and LCS. So that's helped me to relay accurate information in a timely manner, almost in real time, to the people that need it. The KPIs have been huge. I've really, when I started with NetSuite, I really didn't understand how the workflows worked with NetSuite, but with LCS and MyLearn, I quickly realized that it sounds like it's super complex, but it's really not. NetSuite makes it very simple, and LCS and MyLearn help you learn how to build the workflows and utilize them to leverage the most out of your NetSuite environment.
Yeah, that's something we hear from customers a lot is, wow, we didn't even know NetSuite had this breadth of capabilities, right? So kind of bringing this full circle, like how has LCS and MyLearn together really helped you leverage more functionality within NetSuite? Like, are there things you're doing or products you're using now that you weren't before? I mean, even you talking about some of the WIP modules that you want to put into place, or the future things you're looking to do with NetSuite. Is some of that from the education of LCS?
Yeah, of course. So right now, like I said, I'm developing the whip and routing module in our sandbox environment, and I'm going in it, not well. I went into it not really knowing anything about it, and so the LCS has really helped me, figure out how the best way to implement it. Some pieces that I'm missing, the financials can be pretty tricky with it, so LCS has really helped me with that. Again, I can't stress enough how much it's helped me with my save searches and reporting. I think that those are key fundamental skills that almost every NetSuite user should have. If you're not really good at making those searches and reports, I would really suggest, looking into LCS and MyLearn in order to strengthen that, because you can really do so much and you can really build off of those skills. And then with the workflows, like I said, I began utilizing them, and that helps me automate different processes that we do in our environment, and it helps streamline and reduce any inefficiencies.
Wow, that's great. Well, bringing this kind of full circle, we talked about at the beginning, we talked about some of the challenges that are unique to Chembio diagnostics. For example, some of the quality check and quarantining certain products and compliance and what have you. How does LCS really help you learn how to meet those unique business needs with NetSuite?
So LCS has really helped me to understand how NetSuite operates as a system. So which in terms helps me to figure out the best path forward for us as an organization, given the challenges that we face, that we went over earlier. So as I mentioned, with the workflows, it's really helped me to streamline, different inefficiencies that we had in our system, for one. But for two, in terms of the regulation aspects, I'm able to set up different workflows that kind of act as like rules on certain records. So that way we can make sure that we're staying in compliance with all of, our regulated rules.
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick, we have a couple more questions left, but we have some comments coming in from the audience. We have a hello from San Rafael, a hello from Santa Monica, which is where I'm based. So hello to my native Santa Monican. I don't know if that's what we call ourselves. We have a hello from Texas, a hello from Brazil. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then we have a sweet comment that says, what a great session. I appreciate the customer's insight so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As a reminder, keep shouting out, keep asking any questions that you may have. We are going to open it up to a live Q&A with Daverick in just a few minutes here. So make sure you use the comments to ask any questions you have about LCS, about MyLearn, or even about Chembio Diagnostics and their use of NetSuite. So Daverick, kind of looking at this from a 30,000 foot view and looking at NetSuite in general, how does our offering with things like LCS stand out from competitors in your perspective? I don't know if you looked at competitors, previously to implementing NetSuite, or if you looked at other potentially having like consultants come in or something, and then you utilize LCS to be able to answer some of those questions. But how does LCS really, again, stand out?
Yeah, so I think NetSuite's offerings exceed almost any other companies that I've encountered that are offering similar or the same services. What really sticks out to me is you can really tell that NetSuite cares about empowering their users to get the most out of their environment. So that helps them run a successful business. Our account manager is very attentive and is always checking on us to make sure that we have what we need. Is always making sure that we're satisfied. And like I said, really can't stress enough like how much I appreciate the fact that they really make sure that the power is in our hands. That way, we're not constantly trying to go to different sources to get information that we need.
Yeah. Now, as again, earlier you mentioned that you oversee really the relationship with NetSuite, and as the person oversees operational systems really for your company. Why is it so important for NetSuite users to continue investing in training, continue investing in training and educational services with a product, an ERP like NetSuite? Why is that so critical?
So I think that is super critical because like I said a couple of times, is it empowers the users to solve issues on their own and understand how the system operates. And NetSuite's also, it's constantly growing and evolving. So it really only makes sense that the users do the same. You don't want to be stuck behind the times. NetSuite's always coming out with cool new features. The twice a year updates always have a bunch inside of them. So you really, to do your due diligence, you should constantly be staying up to date with that information. Otherwise, you're not getting the most out of your environment.
Absolutely. Great response. That music to my ears, Daverick. Okay, we have one final question before we open it up here to the audience. So again, make sure you use the comments to ask any questions you have. But Daverick, to conclude my questioning for now, what would you tell another customer about your experience with LCS, and then again about your experience with MyLearn?
Yeah, so I would tell them nothing but good things. My experience has been phenomenal with it. With LCS, I never had any complaints. And then, like I said, MyLearn kind of just took LCS and just made it better. It's a lot more personalized. It's a lot more centralized. All the information is right there. Then it helps you to understand what you're doing, how the system operates. It enables you to really do anything that you're looking to do inside the system. There's plenty of really phenomenal consultants out there, but I honestly myself, I prefer to have the power at my own fingertips. That way I can grow and I can develop off of that.
Yeah. Well, and on your own time too, right? Like
Exactly.
you're able to dive in whenever you have the time to dive in. And like you said, come back
Exactly.
to it if you don't finish.
Hmm.
So that's great. Well, thank you so much again. Like I said, that's it from my questions. We do have some questions and some more shout outs coming in from the audience. We have Justina Hassan. Hello from Scotland. Hi, Justina. We have Aaron from San Francisco. We have Chrissy up in Concord. Who else do we have here? We have Scott coming out of Boston. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and keep shouting out, keep commenting. We'll close out with a few more shout outs back to you. But for now, we have a comment, or a question, I should say, coming in from Tori in Santa Monica, who asks, what does the future hold for Chembio? What are your goals both internally and externally?
So in terms of the future for Chembio, we're going to continue to develop and commercialize rapid, easy to use, and reliable point of care tests. That way we can improve the diagnosis and monitoring of diseases. Our R&D department will be continuously looking into new products that they can develop in order to meet, our mission. Personally, I look to continue growing my NetSuite skill set. Like I said, I really can't get enough of what LCS and MyLearn has to offer. I really want to master the ins and outs of NetSuite. Although that might be easier said than done, especially because there are so many cool new things that are constantly getting implemented or that NetSuite's coming out with. But that's really what I envision for my own future.
And then I think this kind of piggybacks nicely off of that. Alyssa from Austin, Texas asks, how does NetSuite help you reach those goals?
Yeah, so NetSuite basically, before we implemented with NetSuite, a lot of the stuff that I'm having NetSuite do now. We were doing manually, whether it be on Excel spreadsheets, a lot of paper. So NetSuite helps reduce all of that that noisy work that we used to be doing. It really streamlined all of those inefficiencies, and because it streamlines all of those, we're now able to take the time that we're saving from doing that and actually focus it on other more important business matters. So you can't really get to that next level if so much of your time is consumed doing the tedious day-to-day work, compiling all the data. So with NetSuite, it really helps eliminate that middleman. It helps automate those processes for you, so that way you can figure out where do you take it from there.
Yeah, help you focus on what you were hired to do rather than the mundane manual processes that
Exactly.
often fill our days, right?
Hmm.
Okay, a few shout outs coming in as well. Again, Ken, hello from Kenya. Hi, Ken. Tehran from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Hi. Okay, one final question coming in here. This is from Danielle in Oakland, who asks, how does NetSuite help you? Or no, that was Alyssa. Sorry. There we go. Are there any specific trainings you've really liked through LCS? I know you talked about saved searches. You've talked about some workflows. I don't know if there's any others you want to provide us, but
Saved searches, workflows, KPIs, those are like the three fundamentals for me personally. It's not so much, well, it's definitely me enjoying the sessions in general and enjoying the fact that I've been able to master those areas. But they're also the three main ones that I get the most great response from my colleagues. When I give them a cool new saved search, it does exactly what they want it to do. It spits out the data exactly how they would expect it to. They love it. That's why I stress so much how important I think it is to master saved searches and reporting, especially when I have a few colleagues that they might have been so used to doing the reporting very manually, and they're like, well, how can I get to trust an automated reporting system such as NetSuite? And so once you're able to finally give it to them and show them, like, look, you can't really find any issues with this report, it saves them a lot of stress because they don't have to worry about manually making those reports, and it makes everyone happier. Then they can take that time and focus it on something else.
absolutely. Man, Daverick, it's like you're a spokesperson for NetSuite. I think we're going to need to use you more often. This was so informative, so insightful. Thank you so much for joining us. We just really, really appreciate you coming on, talking about LCS and talking about MyLearn.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
And as always, a big thanks to all of you, everyone who is tuning in right now. If you want to find out more about MyLearn, go ahead and click the link in the caption, or you can go to mylearn.oracle.com/NetSuite. I'll say that again. That is mylearn.oracle.com/NetSuite to learn more about MyLearn. And of course, if you don't already, be sure to give us a follow, a like, or a subscribe across any of our social channels so you never miss out on informative content just like this. With that, we will see you soon.